Worldwide, osteoporosis causes more than 8.9 million fractures annually, resulting in an osteoporotic fracture every 3 seconds. Also, 1 in 3 women over the age of 50 will experience osteoporotic fractures, as well as 1 in 5 men aged over 50. This shows that women and men are affected by this disease known as osteoporosis. I've done a lot of research on this topic in different classes that I've taken and other presentations that I've had to do in understanding osteoporosis. I've come to understand what people can do to avoid the disease or delay the disease from affecting people at such a young age. It's projected by 2050, the worldwide incidence of hip fracture in men is projected to increase by 310% and 240% in women. This means that we need to act fast and help our youth to avoid osteoporosis in the future. To educate the masses, I will discuss how bone is created, how osteoporosis decreases bone mineral density, and what things we can do to prevent it. Osteoporosis is defined as a bone disorder characterized by low bone mass and deterioration, causing skeletal fragility and increased fractures in the hip, spine, and wrist. An example of what osteoporosis does is shown in this picture. On this side, you have normal bone, where it would be much harder to break than, say, this bone that has lost a lot of its density, lost a lot of its filling. And that's what happens with osteoporosis is you lose so much of that bone mineral density is what it's called. The idea is that we need to increase that bone mass while we're younger. But in order to do that, we need to understand how bone is made. Bone is constantly being broken down and being created. You have cells in your body called osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Osteoclasts break down bone, while osteoblasts build bone. And these are constantly working all the time, trying to make more bone, and osteoclasts are used to give calcium as they break down the bone to different parts of the body that need it. The way that bone is made and increases inside is due to what's called Wolff's law. Wolff's law states that as bone is compressed, that it causes your bone to become stronger. More osteoblasts make the bone thicker so that your body can handle the stress that's being put on it, as well as what's called the piezoelectric effect, which states that when compression is put on a bone, that an electrical charge occurs within your bone, causing you to increase the amount of bone that's being made. So this means that we need to put our bones under stress. Different things like exercises that I'll talk about later will help us to increase our bone mineral density. The question is, why do we need to increase our bone mineral density when we're younger? Well, what happens is when we're younger, we have the ability to create more bone. But as we get older, we start to decrease in our bone mineral density, or the thickness of our bones. And this is shown in this graph right here. So you see right here, at a younger age, you start to increase in bone mineral density, and depending on how high you get will determine how long it takes you to reach this dark pink area, which is considered osteoporosis. And when you reach down in this area, your bones are much thinner and much more capable of being fractured. And so we need to do our best to increase how much bone mineral density we get within our age. And especially women need to be careful because estrogen levels when they reach menopause will decrease, which causes a huge decrease. That's what this line is showing, a drastic decrease in bone mineral density. Or you could just be prone to this and have a fast loss of bone mineral density. So men or so women really need to be careful, and they should be tested frequently. But because this is a disease that usually only affects, or is mainly affecting women, men are the ones who end up having just as many fractures as women because they don't get tested. And so men should be careful. Men are susceptible to this as well. It's just not as common for men to have thinner bones because they're doing more things that they need to, and they don't go through menopause where they would have a huge decrease in estrogen levels. But the question is, how is it that we can increase our bone mineral density? There's two things that we can do. We need to do exercises, and we need to make sure that our diet is including calcium and vitamin D. Exercise is key. You need to be putting stress on your body by doing weight-bearing activities such as running or jumping. Doing things such as biking and the elliptical and swimming are good exercises to lose weight, but those exercises won't help to increase your bone mineral density. The reason why that is when I explained earlier with Wolff's Law, the bone needs to be compressed. And so when you're in the water swimming, your body is weightless. And so you're not putting any pressure on your bones. So you're not increasing your bone mineral density. So we need to exercise. We also need to make sure that we're getting the right amount of calcium and vitamin D by making sure that we get those foods in our diets, like milk. But if our body can't produce enough of it and we can't get enough of it in our diet, then the suggestion is to go to your doctor and ask him if you should be taking supplements, and to get on supplements as soon as possible. These things combined can help to increase your bone mineral density at a younger age. And the hope is that if you can get that peak bone mineral density up high enough, you won't have to worry about osteoporosis at such a young age, or hopefully at all. But the hope is that we can decrease the amount of fractures, because when you have a fracture, that puts a huge strain on you, especially at an older age. And so as you fall and break that bone, it takes longer for that bone to be healed, and it'll cause pain for you in the long run. And so it's just going to make your living situation horrible if you end up getting these fractures and things when you're older. Osteoporosis will continue to affect more and more people until people become educated and make changes at young ages that will help to increase bone mineral density. We need to educate our youth. We need to educate the parents and get their children to go outside and run and jump and do activities that will help to increase their bone density. Don't let osteoporosis ruin your life by increasing the susceptibility to fractures. That's not something that you want, I guarantee it.